Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Monday Night Live. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Hope everybody is having a good Monday so far. So, how is everybody? Let's have a look in the chat. See you. We've got plenty to talk about tonight as well. So, let's just crack on here. Let's just crack on. So, we got Mark in tonight as well, who says, yeah, I'll say evening now for a test. Thank you, Mark. The test worked perfectly. Everything was working fine. We've got Kyle in, who's in nice and early tonight as well. Evening, Kyle. We've got Christian in. Good evening, Christian. Hope you're well too, buddy. Kyle says the kids are in bed, the wife's asleep. He's got a whiskey in hand and he's tidying the workbench. Bliss. Sounds like a pretty good night to me too, mate, as well, I think. Especially with a whiskey in. What kind of whiskey you got tonight, mate? We've got Phil Wilkinson in as well. Evening, Phil. We've got Tim Kelly in. Says, hiya, Andy and all. Cheers. Cheers to you too, buddy. We've got DM13 in. DM13, that is Robert, isn't it? I keep thinking it is, but then I never like to really say it, so I thought I'll ask this time. Nice to see you, man. He says, hey, folks, and welcome back to the chat. I know I need to come up with a bit of a better catchphrase, don't I? It's getting a little bit thin on the ground, that one. Mark says he aims to please. Thank you. Much appreciated. We've got Neil in as well. Good evening, Neil. Hope you're well too, buddy. And we've got Surviving with Greg. Says, hiya there from Florida. Good evening, Greg. I didn't realise you were out in Florida. I was out in Florida myself not too long ago. So thank you for joining us. I hope the weather's nice in Florida. We've got Skullmunch as well. Says, good evening, Andy. Good evening, Skullmunch. How are you? Now I know who you are. We've chatted briefly on Facebook. We chat on Twitter now as well. Now I know who you are. Welcome to the chat again, mate. Tim says, other half painting minis next to me. She's a keeper. Wow, mate. I think you've just unlocked the holy grail there, haven't you? we had a chat last week about people getting it in the neck about sort of painting miniatures and being in the hobby. You're just showing off this week, saying you're getting your other half to sit and paint them with you. Congrats, mate. Couples that hobby together stay together, as they say. We've got DM13 says, yeah, dude, it's Rob from Facebook. I thought it was, mate. I'll call you Rob from now on. We've got Travis in, Big Beard Painting, says, good evening. Good evening, Travis. I'm going to give you a bit of a shout out to me, but I'm going to make sure we get a few more people in the chat first. So remind me on if I forget. We've got Kyle saying, just a cheap Aldi one this time. G-Dub releases are bleeding me dry. I tell you what, mate, there's nothing wrong with the Aldi whiskies. Believe me. Definitely nothing wrong with them, man. We've got Lee Parker in, says, hello everyone, caught a live show. Good evening live. Good evening live. Good evening, Lee, even. Welcome to the live show. So tonight, for anybody that didn't see the title, tonight, it's kind of a very open title. I thought what we'd do is, we've had quite a lot of Kill Team content, and I know that's not everybody's bag, so I'm trying to make sure we keep everybody involved. Tonight, we're talking board games, we're talking card games, we're talking miniatures games, we're talking war games, and they are all around the theme of games that are based on movies, TV shows. They're based upon comic books, and video games. And I think I said in the Facebook group, if your game, the game that you like to play, it doesn't come under that sort of genre, tell me why you think your game would make a fantastic book or make a fantastic TV show or why they make a fantastic film. I think I've just read today that the Warhammer 40k games are going to be made into a movie soon. That sounds pretty exciting for anybody that's into 40k. We've got Scouting the Web. Good evening, Lee. Hope you're well too, buddy. We've got Flying Mammal. Good evening, Flying Mammal. I'm sure I've just seen your name pop up as a new subscriber, so thank you very much for subscribing and welcome to the live chats. We've got Ian Webb in. Good evening, Ian. Says hello all. Good evening to you, buddy. We've got Dylan Hayward in. Says hi, Andy. Good evening to Dylan. Tim is saying burrows and badgers is the way forward. The miniatures do look fantastic, mate, and I remember seeing the ones that you've been painting before. Painting little animals does feel like a nice change of pace from kind of demons and space marines and stuff. Lee says, I've been meaning to try that whiskey, Kyle. Which did you get? So we're also discussing whiskies tonight as well. If anybody's got any whiskey recommendations, I do like to drop myself as well. So if anybody's got any nice ones, feel free to recommend them in the chat. Dylan saying hi to everybody. Greg saying, I asked my wife if she wants to paint minis and just get eye rolls. At least I have two sons, though. See, that's another way of supporting you, mate. Not only she might not want to paint the miniatures with you, but she's supporting you with the future generations of miniature painters. We've got Jedi Jim in, says hi from across the big pond. Another one of our US viewers in. So good evening, Jedi Jim. I think I saw your comment as well yesterday for winning the kill team case as well. Thank you for entering that competition. We've got Kevin from Rage Against the Dice says good evening. Evening, Kev. Hope you're well too, buddy. Kyle says it's Glen Marnock, the Highland Blue Label. And Lee says thanks. So that's all good. And we've got a nice little bunch in, nice and early tonight. So what I am going to do before we crack on with everything else, I completely forgot this week to draw the winner for. Oh, you can tell this is the one I'm giving away because it's still got the cellophane on. The Brothers competition. So let's flick across to the other screen. And what I've done is everybody that entered the competition on the Facebook group, I've put all of your names down this left-hand side. So if you entered the competition, you should see your name down here. There was 41 entrants, which is pretty good for the Facebook group. Not too bad at all. So as you can see, 41 names. So on this random number generator, I will change that to 1 to 41. And we'll pick a winner tonight, live on the chat, so you can see who wins. I should have picked my copy up so you didn't get the shine off it. See who wins this copy of Brothers, which I have to say is an absolutely fantastic game. I've been playing it loads lately. I introduced my sister and one of my sons to it at the weekend. We were playing that on Sunday as well, so let's generate that winner. So, drum roll. Who's it going to be? The winner is number 37, and that is Kevin Waite. There we go, Rage Against the Dice, the winner of the competition, buddy. And it just so happens you're in here to see it happen as well, so congrats to you, mate. I will be in touch with you after the live stream at some point, either tonight or tomorrow, and I'll get your address, and we'll send this out to you. This copy here. So, well done, buddy. That's one more competition down. One more competition down. So let's get back to the main camera. So, I apologise for it took me a week to sort out. I meant to sort it out for last week's live stream, and I tried. There's some software you can get that will randomly pick a comment from a Facebook post. However, because I've got the privacy settings set to a private group, it means that it wouldn't work, and it was right at the end of just before I was due to go live. So I've done it now anyway. So yeah, Kev is the winner. Nice to see Kevin here as well, to see his name picked out. It's always nice when you win a competition and you're there to see it. So congratulations, buddy. We've got a few people in here saying drum roll. Michael's just come in. Good evening, Michael from Miniature Painting. Says just picked number 15. Were you number 15? Were you? Let's have a quick look. Yeah, you were, Michael. To be fair. We've got, yeah, Kev's just saying, yay, everyone's saying congratulations. Michael says fraud. Art is saying evening all on the Spice Rum. A little song of blades and heroes, skirmish goblins versus barbarian warriors. That's not a bad little night, is it? A little bit of spiced rum and a bit of miniature painting and stuff. Pretty good. Everybody's saying well done to Kev. Kyle saying well done, buddy. Well jealous. I'll let you borrow mine, Kyle. I know it's definitely up your street as a game mate. Bill, Dylan, everybody's saying well done. And Lee said I wouldn't know, can't remember ever winning a competition. Well, there's another competition that you can win at the minute too. So let's get that one up on the screen as well, so we can see about that one as well. Where are we? So let's flip across to the left-hand screen here. See my very shiny heat. So for those that haven't entered yet, I've got another giveaway. This time it is to win a Kill Team carry case. I would show you it nice and big on the screen, but it's way over there in the room. So yeah, what you need to do is you need to get across, watch that video. There's a little bit of a review in there as well. And you need to be a subscriber, which I'm sure all of you that are here tonight already are. And you need to comment in the comments about what kind of Kill Team content you'd like to see on the channel. So yeah, if you didn't win this competition, there's another one to head across and enter there. I'll also, I'm good to you lot, don't forget this. I've also got another competition coming up as well in the next few weeks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bit of a kind of getting started in Kill Team video, sort of a basic run through of the rules, really aimed at people that either haven't played the game yet and they want to see the rules talked through in a little bit more kind of rather than trying to read through the rulebook, if you like, or aimed at people that have never played before, don't know anything about it, and are interested to know more about the game. And what I've got to give away on that video is a copy of the core rulebook, which was very kindly given to me by Asgard Wargames. So I head across to asgardwargames.co.uk. Those guys over there, donated the core rulebook for me to give away on the channel. So once this competition's over and done with, we'll have another one for you to enter. So Lee, I'll try and get as many competitions as I can made for you to try and win one. Lee's just saying Spice Rum is amazing. Wouldn't disagree with that one. We've got Surviving with Greg, says Andy. Sure you have had some thoughts on all the new stuff, announcements, Rogue Trader, etc. Right, I'll very briefly talk about that one before we start talking about the other stuff then. I actually don't know much about Rogue Trader from the background. I wasn't really into 40k. I've only just started to get into Kill Team now. I've always liked 40k, but I'm not really big on the lore in the background, so I don't have that affinity with the original kind of Rogue Trader first version of 40k. However, I like the idea of it being fighting in a spaceship. I'm not sure how it's going to work because it looks like from the board, from the picture we've seen, it looks like they've got walls marked on the board, which would suggest a little bit like the Necromunda Underhive box, where the line of sight was blocked by basically printed walls on the board. Takes a little bit of abstract thinking to kind of think about that. Hopefully somebody will come up with maybe some kind of MDF sort of walls and stuff for it. But what I'm not sure yet, what I don't understand is how it's going to cross over into Kill Team. I'm assuming there's going to be some kind of extra rules to kind of theme it a little bit. And I'm assuming that the rulebook that comes with it will have all of the rules for the Rogue Trader factions. But I don't know enough to know whether the Rogue Trader stuff will kind of copy over into normal Kill Team and vice versa. But what I would say is I'm really excited to find out more about it. I think the miniatures look fantastic. They're certainly a certain taste. I think the miniatures look fantastic. And time will tell just what's in store for Rogue Trader. Dylan is saying bitter dust of baby powder will stop that shine. Us more to stick together. Yeah, it's a bit warm tonight, I'll be honest. I think I'm getting a bit of a shine from the sweatiness, to be honest. Lee says, thank you. Even if I don't win, would love to see my Kill Team suggestion on the channel. Requires you all to paint your Kill Teams up, folk, get cracking. Definitely. It was a good suggestion, Lee, actually. I really like that. Bill said, Spar own brand cider is the bee's knees. Interesting. Never tried it. I'm actually on the Diet Coke tonight, to be fair. I don't know if you can see that there. No beer tonight, just a Diet Coke. We've got Mike in. Good evening, Mike. I think last week when we chatted, it was last week, wasn't it, mate? Where had you had the little one? I'm not sure that you had, mate. But anyway, Mike's just become a father for the second time, so congratulations to Mike. And I hope you're getting a little bit of sleep at the minute, mate. Anyway, Gary's saying, evening all. Sorry I'm late. Don't worry about it, Gary. Good to have you here, buddy. Michael saying, wouldn't the rules just adapt into Rogue Trader and Kill Team? I think they're obviously going to be very, very close. I think there'll be some small additions, for fighting inside of a spaceship. You wouldn't want to be throwing grenades about, would you? And stuff like that, maybe. Mike saying, not even a newborn will stop me chatting. Glad to see you here, mate. We've got Richards in as well. Says, sorry, running late. Don't worry about it at all. Don't worry about it. You're like 5 minutes. That's since we started. That's all. We've got Horrid Person as well. Good evening, Gene. Mark is saying, so TV and movie Firefly. Great start. So, Firefly, and I think I'm right in saying that is Gale Force 9. I don't know much about it, Mark, but I do know that you've just had a sneaky little purchase of it. So, let me just have a little look and see if I can get it up on my screen here. So, Firefly the game, it is Gale Force 9. That was a nice little a nice little remembering of it there. So there is a few different Firefly games, I believe. I think there's Firefly Adventures, which is this Brigands in brown coats. And I think this is an expansion that can be used on its own, and that also kind of matches across into the bigger game as well. So I don't know a lot about it, other than I think the miniatures are quite cool. I saw them at UK Games Expo. The miniatures look quite cool. I don't know much about the game, but I do like the Firefly universe. I've watched the TV show. I think Serenity is an excellent film as well for anybody that hasn't seen it. And I guess I've just noticed there, Skullmunch saying Firefly board game is amazing if you're a fan. And Mark is saying the one he's getting is the Adventures one as well. So let's get that up nice and... oh, that's like dial-up internet, isn't it? Oh, there we go. It was like kind of loading line by line there. So it says a cooperative game of thrilling heroics and shameless misbehaving. So 1 to 5 players. So I like the idea that you can play it solo as well. And yeah, the Firefly universe is pretty cool anyway, isn't it? So I'll be really interested to hear what you think about it, Mark, when it comes. What made you choose that? Are you a big fan of the Firefly TV show and the Serenity movie? Or was it just something you've had recommended to you? Where are we? Rich is too busy building Sector Mechanicus. I bet that's all you've been doing for the last 3 weeks, mate, isn't it? Kyle says 10 points from Slytherin for this. That's what we need to get. We need to get a sorting hat. That'll get rid of the shininess, won't it? That would be a better way to do it. Lee is saying, I'm the same. Would love to see my idea too. Channel own kill team campaign with a fun story. Well, it's funny you say that, Lee, because there's a few people that's in the chat tonight. So myself and, let's see, Mike, who's in the chat as well, and Rich and Kyle, and I know Lee's been talking about it as well, and another guy, James, they kind of all live close by and are part of the gaming group I sometimes attend. We've been playing quite a bit of Kill Team, and we've been talking about having sort of a narrative campaign. So if the guys are up for it, I'm sure we'll be able to record some of those, and that might fill exactly what you were looking for from your suggestion. So thanks for the suggestion, Lee, as well. Christian says, yes, the Firefly, need to get that game. Dylan saying, use the Riser Walls GW kit. They match the AdMech doors for spaceship walls. They're going to be counted as a new battle zone. That'll be quite interesting to see what happens there, because we were talking about having like a Zone Mortalis game, but I didn't want to spend a fortune on a load of kind of on walls or something that we might not play very often. We did think about kind of recreating it with a lot of the containers, because we seem to have about 2,000 containers between us now. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that pans out with a bit of terrain. Mike is saying to Hudspeth, stop chatting and get a kill team painted. Exactly, mate, get it painted. Mark's saying the one, he's getting his adventures. Greg is saying, almost get the impression on Rogue Trader that it's kind of double faction pack with some special narrative mission stuff going on. Yeah, I'm getting that impression that it's almost... Is that Rogue Trader just one little standalone set, and then there'll be no more Rogue Trader bits kind of to come with it? Time will tell. Mark's saying, so miniatures, not the ships. Ah, okay. So that's right. The big Firefly game is ship combat, isn't it? The Firefly Adventures is the characters. Michael's saying, talking about movies and games, there's a rumor of a 40k live action movie. Yeah, I saw a photo today. I think it was Mike posted something in our WhatsApp group, and I did see. It might be Travis, I think. Big Beard Painting has got a video on it. So now's as good a time as any to give Travis a bit of a shout, actually, because he's really, really close to 200 subscribers at the minute. Well, let's find his channel here. Yes. So let's get across onto here. Left monitor. So this is Travis's channel. So he's at 199 subscribers. I'm sure with a little bit of love from this group, we can get him over that 200 mark. And yes, it was Travis. I knew I'd seen his video today. He's got Warhammer 40k film confirmed. So anybody wanting to find out a bit more about the 40k film, head across and have a look at Travis's channel. We've also been chatting, myself and Travis and Luke from Luke's APS. We've had a bit of a chat tonight about us going to be filming some Kill Team videos together as well. So yeah, there'll be some Kill Team stuff coming up on Travis's channel as well. So head across, give him a subscription, and watch out for that Kill Team stuff coming out. And keep an eye on some of these fantastic painting tutorials. So yeah, let's see if we can get him over there. See if we can get him over 200 tonight. Where are we up to in the chat? It's bouncing around as it always does, and I'll lose my players. Rich is saying Visionaries of the game. Is that even a thing, mate? I don't remember it. We'll have to have a look for it. Tony says, oi oi, sorry I'm late. You're forgiven, Mr. Leiden. You are forgiven. Christian says, Dino Riders commit a great game. My little lad has been watching, what's it called? It's like kind of like dinosaur truck things or something. I don't know what it's called. Dino Trucks, I think it is actually. I should have just remembered that. I think it's called Dino Trucks. And I've been quite getting into that, sitting watching it with him. So yeah, Dino Riders will be good as well, mate. Mark says he loves Firefly, like the idea, and the price on Amazon is 33 quid. I didn't realise it was that price. I expected to be a bit more than that, mate. Bargain at 33 quid. Lee says, Song of Ice and Fire looks awesome. I've seen it being played. It looks almost the same as Warhammer Fantasy with cards and stuff. I must admittly, and I think I've said this once before on another live stream, I've not watched all the Game of Thrones. I've seen like the first season or something, and that's about it. And I never read the books, so I'm not really up on the story of it. However, the miniatures look fantastic. They really do look good. And I've heard good things about it, so I wouldn't mind seeing it played or even giving it a little demo at some point. But I don't know much about the game. But it certainly fits in with the books and the TV stuff for tonight as well. Skullmunch said he's looking forward to the new Middle-earth strategy game. The starter box looks amazing. Yeah, Lee, who's scouting the web in the chat there, sent me a link to the community page the other day, which showed all of the contents of the box. And I have to admit, it does look pretty good. I'm not sure if it's something I'll personally buy, but it is something I wouldn't mind giving a try to. I don't have the it's a night for confessions, isn't it? I've not watched Game of Thrones, and I've not seen the Lord of the Rings films either. I started watching one the other day, but I'm sure we'll get onto that later. So I haven't got that kind of emotional pull to it, but the miniatures look nice, and that's always a good thing. Throat Saw said in as well. Good evening, Throat Saw. How are you? He says hello there. Someone mentioned Firefly. Yep, we've just been having a chat about it. Mark's just purchased it today. It was 33 quid on Amazon. If anybody wants to go and pick it up, if you want to check out the link in the description below, if you click that link, it takes you through to Amazon. You can go shopping. You don't pay any more money for it, but I get a little kind of commission from anything that anybody spends. So if anybody wants to go across and buy it from Amazon, feel free to use my affiliate link. Throat Saw says, and let's just jump on the top of the screen for me. It says, tonight I logged onto the Dead Zone Summer Campaign Starfall. Yeah, that's just gone live as well, hasn't it? So anybody, let's have a quick look. I'll see if I can get that one up as well. Dead Zone Starfall. So technically not a game of that. Let's have a look. Not a game that is a book or a film or anything like that, but I can imagine Dead Zone would make a really good kind of theme for a sci-fi movie. No, it's never easy to find. There's Starfall campaign site. Let's see if I can try and find it. Not easy to find a fuzzy thing, to be honest. Tell you what, let's just show this. So yeah, so there was this on the Mantic blog the other day. So it was a Dead Zone summer campaign. Somebody that quite often pops into the chat, Kieran Morris, has actually created this this website for Mantic as well. So this is where you can go in, and I think it's every week or every couple of weeks, they unlock another part of the campaign. It started at 8 PM, so an hour ago it opened up, and basically means you can go in there, you can record your games, and you can change the future of the Dead Zone universe. So yeah, something else to play as well if you're into that, small skirmish games. So what else we got here? Rob is saying he's a lover of second edition of the Doom game. Really fast-paced combat, takes inspiration from the gameplay of the video game, not just the theme, and can be played up to 4v1. that was another game that was relatively cheap on Amazon not too long ago, and I think has it just been reprinted as well? I think it was, which was excellent. Michael is saying he heard the rumor before, don't know where. I think what it was, Games Workshop the other day announced that they are starting to explore opportunities to use their IP, be that with movies, with sort of animated series, that kind of stuff. And I think they're really looking at now. Warhammer it's done really well with computer games and stuff and video games, hasn't it? With the things like Dawn of War and the Space Marine game, and more recently there was it a Death Watch game? It might have been. Forget now. But they seem to do pretty well with the video games, and I think there's a lot of people who probably play the video games and maybe don't even realize there's a miniatures kind of line behind it. So that's definitely something that it's definitely something I think they're exploring, and it wouldn't surprise me if they've dropped that into conversation just before the announcement of the movie as well. So yeah, definitely. Tony is saying, yep, Doom is awesome. And we've got a few people who are just all saying that they've just subbed as well. So let's head across and see how Travis is doing. We'll get across to that. So there we go. Live on the chat tonight. Travis has just passed the 200 mark. So congratulations, mate, on over 200 subscribers now. Really, really pleased for you, mate. So, Kyle is saying, I hate that program. I'm assuming you mean the Dino Trucks one, mate, is it? Gary says Dino Train is good. I think he's also he's got a bit of a dinosaur thing at the minute, and he's been watching Dino Paws as well, which is brain numbing as well. Tony's saying, was painting up some Walking Dead for the weekend. They're really quick to paint, to be honest. They are really quick to paint. I've actually got a game of Walking Dead on Wednesday night. So my brother-in-law started to kind of get into miniature games a little bit, sort of through hearing me nag about it on this channel and stuff, and he watched some of my videos. And for his birthday, he asked for some Walking Dead stuff. So me and my wife got him the Walking Dead sort of the starter box thing. I think it was the like the premium edition thing one. We got him that for his birthday. Since then, he's added quite a bit to it. He sent me a photograph the other night, which was, he's got two of the neoprene mats side by side. He's got a whole kind of a little town full of houses and stuff. He's got RVs and all sorts of things. So I would say he's getting into miniature gaming now. And he did ask me about having a game of Kill Team as well when I get back from holiday. So yeah, I've managed to convert one extra person anyway. So yeah, Wednesday night is going to be a Walking Dead night for me. What we got? I lost my place now. Throat Sauce says I got to 160 thanks to all who watch. Oh, I forgot about yours as well, buddy. Let's get trying to find your channel now, mate, because if you type in throat sore, you get a lot of sore throat pictures. Drop me in the comments. Can you put a link to it, or tell me what the exact name of it is? Is it throat sore with a gap in it, or don't think it is? It's just hard to find it now, isn't it? I'm just getting loads of sore throat pictures, mate. Sorry. Let me know what it is, and we'll get it up and we'll give it a shout. Rich is saying, oh, Michael's saying about games and game IPs. Did a round of Dark Souls, and his ass still hurts. I saw you playing that, mate. I assume it was pretty tough, was it? Rich is saying Cam and Stu at the club both got Song of Ice and Fire. Lee saying Stu's got it as well. So bring it for some demos. That would be pretty good. Rich is saying he's just unsubbed. What can I say, boys? I don't spend a lot of time watching TV or films, to be fair. So yeah, so I'm trying to play catch up now. I'm away with work tomorrow night. I'll try to start catching up. So there he is. Right. So throat sore. Let's get across here. So throat sore miniatures, throat sore gaming. Got a load of stuff here. Some Mantic Mars Attack stuff, some Space Crusade, some modular terrain by Uncertain Scenery. He is now at 166 subscribers. Let's see if we can give him a push tonight as well. Let's have a bit of a community night as well tonight. So yeah, let's see if we can get him a bit of a push as well. We've got Broken Legion of Gamers as well. Says, hey everybody, you can see down below as well. Broken Legion of Gamers was my last donator. So everybody head across, check out Broken Legion of Gamers as well. Just looking for here in my. So he's been doing quite a bit recently as well about. He's very much an Orc player as well. So there's a hell of a lot of Orc stuff thing going on. Talking about a giveaway that he's just been doing. He's been talking about Kings of War Vanguard. New channel, hasn't been going too long. But again, another one that is worth heading over and checking out. So, Skullmunch is saying, great miniatures in Song of Ice and Fire. Really nice streamlined rule set. Flying Mammal says, as long as I get to be my ghosts, Skullmunch. Horrid Gene saying, Star Trek Adventures RPG. He's in the process of building a post-Enterprise campaign, and the game's been out for about a year. So yeah, I'm letting myself down again. I've never seen. I think I said this before, another one, and everybody gave me a bit of hate for it. I'd never seen Star Trek either. I've seen a couple of the new movies, but I've never seen any of the original series. None of the Deep Space Nine stuff. None of the Generation stuff. Just don't watch a lot of TV. Michael's saying Dead Zone would make a great series, not a movie, in the same style as Space Above and Beyond. Yeah, I can imagine it kind of like being almost like a kind of a cop drama thing, you know, like kind of like Space Police and stuff, going in and looking into these dead zones. Skullmunch says he's going to paint up some zombies for Walking Dead using your very helpful tutorial. You are very welcome. I'm glad you found it useful. I know my brother-in-law said he kind of he used that as well. It was quite he found it quite sort of useful or quite easy. Throat Saw, I managed to get it eventually. Mike is saying, what was that beard fella again? It was Big Beard Painting. So Travis does commission painting as well. So as you can imagine, because he's a commission painter, the quality of his painting stuff is excellent. You might have saw one of his Death Guard models that we showed on the channel a couple of weeks ago as well. Fantastic painter and some really interesting videos as well. So yeah, nip across and say hi from me. Michael is saying Dark Souls, the regular enemies are pretty hard for a single player round. They give average 3 damage, but you give max of 3 damage all the enemies. Tell you what, mate, I had a little demo of it, and it wasn't the easiest game to kind of play from a very quick demo. I think it would take me a little while to kind of get my head around it. Mark is saying he's subbed as well. The Throat Saw. Michael saying then there's the boss. Throat Saw saying that's really kind. Not a problem at all, buddy. Rich has been doing some subbing there as well. Michael saying 21 health for the boss, and you're doing about 3 damage. Could take some time, that one, mate. Dylan says, I like the look of Marrow Production Journey Wrath of Demon. It's based around the Monkey King. That's not something I've heard of, Dylan. I'll have to do some checking of that one and see what it's about. Is that, when you say the Monkey King, is that the kind of like the stories about the Monkey King, or is it a film that I've never heard of? Gary says Stargate RPG is good, but only have the PDFs. The books are about $60 each. Stargate, another film I've never seen. All the TV series. I am aware of these things. I'm kind of immersed in geek culture. I know that they're all there. Just never got around to seeing them as well. Kyle's been doing some subbing there as well. Gene said, I thought I was throwing you a bone, you're fired. Sorry, buddy. Star Wars, yes, 100%. I've seen everything there is to do with Star Wars. I'm a big Star Wars fan. Star Trek, I'm not even saying that I don't like it. I've never seen it to know if I don't like it. Somebody did recommend I should watch the Star Trek Netflix series. That would be a good place to start. But like I say, I don't watch a lot of TV, so I've got a lot of catching up to do. Christian is saying he's subbed to both as well. Broken Legion of Games has done some subbing as well. Dylan says a million tricky hands is just snapshot. I'll probably find I hit 3,000 subscribers yesterday. If I went back and check, it might have just dropped to about 200. Travis is saying thanks to all the subs. Missed the shout out as I was busy eating a giant burger. Well, it was a celebration burger, buddy, for hitting you 200 subs. So well done, mate. Well deserved. Tony saying the Gears of War board game is great, but pretty brutal. I love the Gears of War board game. It was one of the first kind of sort of, you know, like non-Monopoly type games. Because I was a big kind of Xbox player as well, the idea of the Gears of War board game really interested us. And yeah, great game, and you can play solo as well. There's a video on my channel of me absolutely butchering the rules, I think, but it was a fun little playthrough. Tim saying, blimey, Andy, have you been down a well or in prison? I think if I'd been in prison, I probably would have got more television time, to be honest. I just, I watch a lot of YouTube, obviously, as you can imagine. And I do watch a lot of films, but I like horror films. I do watch a lot of horror films. But yeah, certain things just seem to have passed me by. I don't know why. I think I don't get caught up in them when they first come out, and then by the time I kind of get round to watching them, there's always something else I kind of fancy. We've got Silver MKI as well. Says, love the Stargate series, Star Trek 2, Star Wars is something I've never got into though. There you go, buddy. See, we all like different things, so don't worry about that, eh? Kev saying he's already subbed to everyone. Skull Munch says, Gears of War was my first proper board game too. There you go. My first one was Last Night on Earth by Flying Frog Productions. Love that game. And it was kind of recommended from listening to the D6 Generation, which was a podcast I first got into when I really started getting into miniatures and stuff. And when I realised there wasn't just Games Workshop miniatures out there was a whole world of gaming. I started listening to that, and that was a board game that was recommended on there. And I think Gears of War was probably like my next one. I was kind of, loved the idea of miniatures of a game that I love playing as well. Michael is saying, does a fan film count? Then we can talk about Strontium Dog. We can still talk about Strontium Dog because it's anything that's in comic books as well, mate. So tell me down in the comments what you think of Strontium Dog. You asked me about it the other week, and I honestly don't know anything about it from a game perspective. I read the comic when I was a kid and stuff in 2000 AD. Not when I was a kid in 2000 AD. The comic 2000 AD with Judge Dredd. But I don't know anything at all about the game. Let me know in the comments what you think of it, mate. Skullmunch is saying, what an eye-opener that was. It's a great game, but it can be brutal, can't it? Dylan is saying, it's an old China book, Journey to the West. It was an old 70s TV show, and there are a few movies. That's what I was thinking of. The whole thing with Monkey and the feathers and stuff. I'm going to regret doing that now. Flying Mammal says, waiting for Harry Potter miniatures to arrive for the minis, and the gameplay looks rubbish. I must admit, when I saw the first gameplay videos, how can I put it? They either weren't recorded particularly well, and they chose not to show the best parts of the game. They didn't seem to sell the game to me, I'll be honest. And I do like to watch kind of demos and stuff to have the game sold to me. Miniatures out of this world. I know Lee, who's in the chat tonight, I know he backed it as well. Big fan of Harry Potter. I hope the game's decent. I hope it's pretty good as well, because it would be a shame for the miniatures to kind of never see the light of day, really. Silver MKI is saying the Harry Potter miniatures look great as well, but massively expensive. Yeah, another reason why I didn't really kind of get into it. Gary's saying he loves the Jurassic Park board game from 1993. Somebody else was just telling me about that the other day, actually randomly. Said he bought it when it came out, Christmas, played it too much, destroyed it. Saw it on eBay a few months ago, had to get it. I wonder if it was you, Gary, that had mentioned it. Tim is saying Judge Minty is an amazing Dredd fan film. I think I've actually seen that, believe it or not. I do seem to remember that now. Nick is saying, if you're going to try watching Star Trek, watch the 3 most recent movies. I don't like Star Trek, but I like those movies. I'm not sure if I've seen all 3 of them. I've definitely seen 2 of them. I can't remember seeing a 3rd one, but I really did enjoy them. It didn't make me want to go back and watch the old TV series, but I enjoyed them as just kind of standalone films. Phil is saying it would be cool if there was a real Last Starfighter game. Oh, the Last Starfighter. What a film that was as well. That takes me back. Michael is saying, if you like horror movies, there's a one-shot RPG called Dread. The game's master designs a horror movie, and the results of choices are based on your Jenga skills. Now, that sounds interesting. That's something I could play. I love proper, like, sort of everything from really gory horror films to proper cheesy ones. Things like from Saw through to kind of like, I don't even know where to start. Anything, basically. Love all the Saw films and that kind of stuff, though, as well. The old Hostel films and things. Michael says, the more tense the game gets, the higher the stakes of losing. Really sounds good, buddy. Mox is there's no Harry Potter game doesn't exist and refuse to accept it. Oh, I know how you feel, mate. Neil says, "Oh my God, hasn't watched Lord of the Rings and now hasn't watched Game of Thrones." Right, okay. Game of Thrones, I think I've watched the first series like 3 times now, and that's about as far as I've got. Like halfway into the second series, maybe. First time I started watching it, kind of didn't really kind of get into it. Second time I started watching it again, and decided like years later, I decided to try and get into it again. Started watching it. My wife said about sort of 3/4 of the way through the first series, "Oh, this looks pretty good. We should have watched it together." So we went back to the start and watched it together, and then we kind of got to the end of the first series, and she went, "It's not really for me, is it?" So that's why I think that's why I've never got into it. Kind of, I've been through that first series so many times, and I almost feel like I need to go back and watch it again because it's that long ago since I watched it. I need to start from the start. Now there's just so many series of it that's kind of like, oh, I don't know if I can be bothered to get into it now, but I do understand how good it is. Even my kids sort of give me a hard time about not watching it. They've seen it all. Kyle is saying wanting to back the Kung Fu Panda Kickstarter just for the minis. Yeah, I got an email from the company telling me about that as well, about that game. I'd not even heard of it until I saw the email about it. Gary says the gameplay looks rubbish. Was hoping it would be like Batman miniatures game they made. To be honest, the guy that wrote it, Mark Latham, is the same guy that wrote the Walking Dead miniatures game. So I had really high hopes for it. I thought it was going to be excellent. It might still be excellent. It's just the demos that they showed in their videos didn't seem that particularly exciting. And then Mark says, of course, we've got Hellboy coming though as well. Looking forward to Hellboy. I think there's a final playtest this weekend as well at Mantic. Kev saying Harry Potter done by Mark Latham. Yep, so we've just been a chat about that as well. Lee says he got the Harry Potter. He's looking forward to it. Not sure how the game will play. Sure we can tweak things. To be honest, I'm sure the game will probably be all right. You know, I think it'll be pretty good. Mark Latham is a good rules writer. Just don't think the videos were the most exciting. It all felt a little bit camp and a bit weird. Christian says Harry Potter Hogwarts battle card game is really good though. Yeah, I remember you telling me about that before, Christian, and I looked it up afterwards, and it did look pretty cool. Road sources are all zombie games cousins of the original Romero movies. I think they're all based at some point, aren't they? Back on those old sort of Night of the Living Dead films. Last Night on Earth is a fantastic board game, but is really kind of grounded in those old horror films. Even The Walking Dead really is kind of it kind of like tips its hat to that as well. And I remember reading a really interesting thing. So for anybody that has seen the movie 28 Days Later and the opening scenes of The Walking Dead, where Rick wakes up in bed and the world's kind of like an apocalypse, and he's the only person on his own walking around. The same kind of scenes are in the opening of 28 Days Later. And actually what happened was the comic book for The Walking Dead had already been written and had gone to print. I think it was kind of like 6 months before the 28 Days Later movie came out. And I remember reading this interview with, I forget the guy's name now who writes The Walking Dead. Oh, that's going to kill me now. Anyway, the writer of The Walking Dead. Basically sitting at the cinema and seeing this and just thinking, shit, like that is the start of my comic book. And neither of them copied off each other. They were both done completely independently. But what a way to start a story of that kind of like that world apocalypse thing. Let's see. Silver is saying would love to see Harry Potter module for D20. I'm really surprised nobody's ever done one. Gene is saying Hammer films are some of my favourites. The old horrors, they're just classics. What can I say? They're just classic. Flying Mammal says Skull Munch didn't want me mourning. I missed out on order model, so he pre-ordered it for me. But yes, stupidly expensive. So I am assuming, Flying Mammal, that you and Skull Munch are buddies then, eh? Or you certainly know each other anyway. Michael is saying fell asleep halfway through first episode of first season and never started Game of Thrones again. I actually turned it off in the first episode as well because I didn't enjoy it, and I had to go back and start to watch it again when everybody was raving about it randomly. Tony's saying, horrid person me too, grew up on them, reckon keeping Kronos Vampire Hunter might make a good RPG game as well. I think some of the old... I don't know of a lot of kind of horror type stuff in board gaming. I'm not sure whether that kind of horror translates very well. But certainly zombie stuff comes across into the games. But there's very little in the way of kind of like vampires or kind of all that kind of stuff. We've just kind of had a real resurgence of zombie stuff, I suppose, haven't we? We've got Lee saying you need to watch Game of Thrones. It'll blow your mind. That's what my kids keep telling me as well. That like they keep referencing things like the Red Wedding and stuff like that, and I have no idea what it means. Yeah, please don't spoil it for me. We've got Stephen from Steve Small World. Good evening, buddy. Says, nipping in to say hi. Having a quiet night has been driving over 8 hours to get home today. I saw that on Facebook, mate, that you had a bit of a long drive. You put your feet up, mate, and we'll catch up another time. Christian said, read the Game of Thrones books instead of watching the show. They are so good. Again, I don't even think I'd even really... I think I'd heard of kind of George Martin and the Song of Ice and Fire, but I'd never read the books. But maybe now's a good time to catch up, eh? Michael saying, the sci-fi horror series of Game of Thrones writers looks absolutely amazing. I don't know anything about this, Michael. What's this? This is something new? Please tell me. Mark is saying, there's a playtest this weekend. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. There is a playtest this weekend. I'm not going. I actually go on holiday for a week on Friday, so I'm not going. But I was invited to go down and have a look at the game and see how it's getting on. So hopefully I'll be getting down there in the next few weeks as well. So that was very nice of James to invite me. Gene is saying, I tossed around the idea of a war game set in Captain Kronos. Never got round to it, but know another blogger who did. Oh, that'd be quite cool. We've got... screen's just jumped there again. So we've got Devon Smethwick. Good evening, Devon. Welcome to the live chat. He says... where's his message gone? There it is. He's saying... Jumping around all over tonight, the chat. Oh, I know he's mentioned a Robocop board game. Where's his message gone? There it is. It's gone straight off the top of the chat. There it is. Would like to see a Robocop board game. I've just seen actually recently. They're talking about having a Robocop Returns film, aren't they? With what's he called, Peter Weller, the original guy that was in Robocop, to bring him back again as well. That would be quite interesting to see if they did that. Gene saying his models and terrain are awesome. You'll have to send a link across in the Facebook group, mate. Let's check it out. Silver saying he got the books, kind of got too unfocused after the first couple. That's what I heard as well, and that's another reason why I don't think I really got into them. Yeah. Mark's is saying a gang of Ed 209s would be cool. That would be good. Skull Munch is saying interested in the new Tomb Raider board game that has been announced recently. That's news to me, buddy. I've not heard anything about that. I sometimes listen to a podcast when I'm driving called is it The Wizard and the Bruiser, or The Bruiser and the Wizard? And they talk about like a movie or a computer game or sort of wrestler or something like that, and they go into a bit of detail about his background. And an episode recently was about Tomb Raider, and I really, really enjoyed that episode of the podcast. It's definitely worth checking out. Anybody that's kind of into geek culture type stuff, it's a good podcast to check out. But yeah, Tomb Raider, I can see how that would make a good game. Nick saying Romario was an advisor for the first series of The Walking Dead. And Tony's reminded me it was Robert Kirkman, and thanks for that. I was sending my brain mad. I didn't realise that, Nick. Tim saying that beginning was inspired by Day of the Triffids waking up in hospital and the world's gone to hell. And Silver saying the same thing as well. Day of the Triffids pretty much started off a hospital coma scene. So it's amazing, really. I think it was just a coincidence that I think the Walking Dead comic book came out about a week or two or a month after 28 days later, and it was just quite funny that the two of them came out side by side. I never realised it was referenced back to Day of the Triffids. Christian says, Toxic Avenger board game. Not sure how it would work, though. I remember there being a really, really poor Toxic Avenger computer game years ago when I was a kid. Rich says, are you doing the brother giveaway draw tonight? I've already done it, bud. I did it right at the start of the night, and Kev from Rage Against the Dice won it. So sorry, buddy, you didn't win that one, but make sure that you're in for the Kill Team box. Kill Team carry case. Throatsaw is saying, Dear the Triffid starts with the guy waiting up in the hospital. Thank you. Michael saying, yes, I did. I'm playing catch up now, guys. Tony saying, I remember the John Duttine version of Triffids when I was a kid. Scared the crowd out of me. Devin is saying Dreadnought conversion to Ed 209. I think that would be pretty cool. I'd be really surprised if somebody's not already done one of those. Gary is saying loved Men in Black RPG. Wish it was a miniatures game. Didn't realize there was one, buddy. Didn't realize. And Men in Black again is also based on a comic book as well, isn't it? Silver is saying would love to see Dear the Triffids game. Probably easier to rewrite a zombie game and bring them onto the tabletop. Probably would be. Mark saying he's reading Triffids at the minute. There you go, buddy. Lee said, gotta admit, did enjoy all of Series 1 Game of Thrones. When I watch it back, even Series 3 feels slow because it's so intense later on. Then the start feels shit. Yeah, I think, did I get as far as Season 3? I think I might have only got into Season 2. But it was at a time, I think, when I wasn't really into kind of high fantasy. Science fiction was more my thing. Maybe I should really go back and try and check it out. Tony's saying Fury of Dracula is a pretty good hidden movement game. There's not a lot of vampire board games, but Vampire Masquerade was a good RPG. My sister was obsessed with it for years. Yeah, I've heard people take that really seriously, don't they? There's like they sort of take over towns and cities when they're playing it. Throatsaw says, does having many factions benefit a war game? What movies and series, etc. have this? So there is a rule that says, I mean, it's not a rule as such, it's not the law, but there's a kind of like a rule of thumb that says in order for a miniatures game to succeed, it needs to have 4 factions, which is quite interesting because it was one of my concerns I had about Star Wars Legion was that you only had 2 factions. However, Fantasy Flight Games have just announced they've got 2 more factions coming out. They did exactly the same thing with X-Wing as well, where they started with 2 factions and then expanded it again. So I think 2 factions is a risk, because otherwise you need a bit of. I think you need about 4 factions minimum to at least get the game off the ground and give people choice, so that not everybody's just buying the same miniatures and things. And I think that's probably one of the issues. But yeah, X-Wing and Star Wars Legion. That was kind of one of my worries about it. And I'm not surprised it's kind of expanding from that. Mark says, shame you miss it on Saturday then. Yeah, I wasn't invited to be fair, but I couldn't make it anyway. Silver saying, Wyndham hasn't written a bad book in my opinion. Love him. I don't think I know Wyndham. Please tell me what he writes. I'm actually looking for... I've got a couple of Audible credits that I need to kind of spend. If anybody's got any kind of recommendations for some really good audio books, please let me know. Michael is saying George R. Martin's show is called Night Flyers. Check it out on YouTube. I certainly will, mate. Thanks for that. Skullman says Flying Mammal is my better half and my opponent for any board miniature game. Even better, I didn't realise. Very good that the two of you are gaming together as well. So congratulations to you both. It's nice to have a sort of a partner that's in gaming as well. So yeah, that's good stuff. Tony's saying Paul Verhoeven is apparently bringing the direct sequel to RoboCop. I just mentioned that as well. I don't know if we crossed over in my chat catching up with your chat. I'm sure it's RoboCop Returns or something like that. I think we was talking about it being called. Vampire is coming back this year, Michael says. Rage Against the Dice is saying 2 faction only works with a large IP. And Tony is saying, yeah, nice. Didn't know. So I finally caught up with the chat there as well. So we've had like an hour's chat or something, and we've probably hardly scratched the surface of movies and books and everything else. One game that Alex Bardi, who is the guy that designed the Minties beautiful football game, and we had a chat at UK Games Expo. Alex wanted to sit down and play the Godfather board game with me. It was something I'd been really interested in. Now, I never got the chance to do it. I keep telling him I will go down to the Beyond Monopoly Games Club in York at some point, but things have been a bit nuts of late, so I've not had the chance yet. But yeah, the Godfather game is something else I was really interested in. There's a board game based upon Sons of Anarchy called Men of Mayhem, I think it is. Again, another one that I kind of was a little bit interested in. Don't know much about it. Has anybody played that? You also, I mean, thinking about TV series, there's probably not quite so many games. Well, other than really kind of like cheesy Mr. and Mrs. and kind of like blockbusters and that kind of stuff. But there's no real kind of real serious games. I've not seen like a Westworld board game or anything like that. Maybe I've missed one. Is there anything that you can recommend from a TV perspective? Flying Mammal is saying more factions can appeal to more people, more variety, or just make people buy everything. I think when it's a new game, and I think as who was it? Was it Lee that had said that? Oh, sorry, it was Kev saying it only works with a large IP. I think that's pretty. I think that is pretty important. The Star Wars one works because it's so iconic. But if you were going to start a new IP now, like a completely, like for example, if Games Workshop started off with Warhammer 40k now and only brought out Space Marines and Orcs, it wouldn't get very far very fast, would it? You need that kind of, you need the choice. You need to know that if you're in a small gaming group, you don't all just buy the same. Excuse me, you don't all just buy the same miniatures, and that's what's been really a bit of a worry for Star Wars Legion. And that because there's not so many miniatures out at the minute, everybody seems to be playing very similar armies. Hopefully that'll change really quickly. Christian is saying should try the Expanse series of books by James S.A. Corey. Is the Expanse series of books, is that the same as the TV show The Expanse, or is that something completely different? Somebody here in the Facebook, somebody from this group or the Facebook group recommended I watch The Expanse. And I started to watch it, and it seemed pretty cool. Tim is saying on Audible, We Are Legion, We Are Bob. Amazing series. I think I might have seen that as a title. I think what it was, after I'd downloaded Ready Player One quite some time ago, it recommended We Are Legion, We Are Bob, I think it was. It seemed like a really quirky title, but I've not got around to it. At least it's been recommended. It's something I might pick up. Silver is saying I like a game where you don't just have the lock and key factions. I like to have something more realistic with crossover of beliefs and shades of grey. Yeah, I think I would definitely agree with that. Just kind of good and evil, black and white, right and wrong. It soon wears thin, doesn't it? And I think that is where even 40k, where Space Marines are seen as the good guys, there's something not that good about the kind of the Imperium as well. They're not exactly in this for sort of for humanitarian reasons, let's be honest. So it's good that they're it's good that they are, there is that kind of shades of grey. I think it makes it interesting. Factions like Tau and like Necrons, it just brings that kind of, you know, the bad guys are only the bad guys when you're on the other side kind of thing. that kind of stuff. Kev is saying 7TV is really good, covers all the 70s style TV shows. Yeah, anybody interested in 7TV? Kev on Rage Against the Dice channel did I'm sure you did an interview with the creator, didn't you, Kev? Please let me know down in the comments if I've got that completely wrong. So yeah, go and check that out if you're interested in the 7TV stuff. Tony is saying Dune is getting a new board game, miniatures game soon. Really hope it's good. Dune, whenever I hear Dune, I never think of the book or the story of it. It always reminds me of Whitley Bay randomly. So the reason it reminds me of Whitley Bay is because Sting, who was in the movie Dune, is from the Northeast, and his brother had a pub in Whitley Bay called Dunes because of him being in that film. Just that's what it always reminds me of. Random stories. Mark is saying didn't like the look of Sons of Anarchy gameplay that I saw. Yeah, I don't know a lot about it. Just that I think it's kind of sort of moving money around and guns and stuff, but I ain't really seen a lot about it. Tim's saying there's a Dune TV show or film in the works. Yeah, I think I'd seen it's a TV show. It's probably going to be like a Netflix thing, I think, or something, isn't it? Christian saying yes, it's the same as a TV show. Gina saying same but better, though both are awesome. I'm not sure. I know I must have missed the chat somehow, mate. I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about there. Silver saying you need another Dune film after the original masterpiece. It was a long film, mine, wasn't it? I know it's a long book, but they really, it's kind of, I think it kind of flopped a bit when it first came out. It's seen more as a kind of cult classic over the years, I think. But there's some very close ties to 40k in there as well, isn't there? Michael says there is no Dune masterpiece. Still a good movie though. And Neil says at least you read 2000 AD. I will stay. I have an older cousin who used to get 2000 AD, and then when he'd finished reading them, he'd pass them on to me. So I read them by proxy. So I got a lot of the old Commando kind of little comics. I got a lot of the 2000 AD. He was kind of the cooler kid, and he passed the comics down. I was more of a Roy of the Rovers kind of reader at the time. But I would say that that's where my sci-fi bent is probably kind of was kicked in as being a kid reading those. Gene is saying, yeah, heard about Dune, looking forward to see what happens. Everyone's saying what a great soundtrack Dune has. And Kev says, yeah, he did. He's a really cool guy and is generic enough to use any minis you own. Yeah, so anybody that hasn't checked out Rage Against the Dice, the winner of the Brother competition, he's got a few 7TV videos on his channel, so go ahead and check him out too. Mark says there's a Red Dwarf card game, I think, but didn't look great. That's the problem, isn't it? That sometimes the license is enough to sell the game and it doesn't really need to be that good. Horrid Person was talking about The Expanse. Same, but better though. Both are awesome. Right, so I can't remember who it was. Somebody was telling me to watch The Expanse, and I started watching the first couple of episodes, and it was pretty cool. I need to go back and finish watching that. Tony is saying Sons of Anarchy, basically a worker placement game, really good, but not the kind of game for everyone. Gary says I would have bought the Red Dwarf card game just for nostalgia. Horrid Person says sci-fi did an adaptation of Dune, wasn't bad. I don't remember that actually, but I don't see a lot of stuff on the Sci-Fi channel. Robbie Last says good morning all. Good morning, Robbie. I'm assuming by the fact that you're saying good morning, you're on the other side of the globe. I forget where you are, Robbie. Tony's saying, speaking of 2000 AD, my Dread collection is now all in the right order. So you can see the picture on the spines now. You told me off a while ago. I do remember that now, mate. Certain things kind of like trigger my OCD. I'm not like kind of really OCD, but certain little things are like, oh, please just put me in the right order. Thank you for that. I'd love to see a picture of that. Gary says there's a print and play Red Dwarf card game. And Silver says I really enjoyed the Expanse TV series. Hope they do more. Well, if it's that good, I will continue watching it. Excuse me. So, folks, another thing I wanted to just mention about as well is you may have seen the Facebook group. So Harry Scar, who has the Dark Artisan channel, is going to be doing a 24-hour live stream this weekend. And he's doing it for cancer charity as well. So if anybody would like to head across and support him, either with a couple of quid into his Just Giving page, or if you'd like to support him just by watching and keeping him awake for the 24 hours, I'm sure he'd really appreciate it too. Michael says, how on earth can you make a game out of something as silly as Red Dwarf? Seen them all, and it's the second series I ever seen as a whole, Stargate being the first. I'm sure you're probably, I'm trying to think if there's anything else from a kind of like a weird, kind of quirky series that is made into games and made it work. You could be right though. I'm sure they'll probably forgo the humor and it'll end up just being some kind of space exploration game, won't it? Robbie says he's a dirty Aussie. The old World of Warcraft board game was really good, and I didn't even play World of Warcraft. Yeah, I've played a little bit of it with my sons, but no, it's not my kind of thing. Those kind of games where you just sort of grinding them out, not my kind of stuff. I'm much more of a kind of like a sort of short, sharp blast of a game. Things like, I guess like FIFA and things. Really, things where I can play for a short period of time. Dive into Call of Duty and have a couple of rounds of Call of Duty, that kind of stuff. Tony's saying to Gene about the sci-fi miniseries was pretty good. And Gene is saying Children wasn't nearly as good, but the first series was solid. And we've got Bazza just coming as well. Good evening, Bazza. Saying now then, laddos, how we're all doing. We're doing pretty good, mate. We're doing pretty good. Nice to see you in. Nice to see you join us. We've got Star Smythe in as well. Good evening, Star Smythe. Nice to have you. Says Ghostbusters International RPG was amazing. Have I seen randomly? Is there a Ghostbusters board game as well, or have I just imagined that? I don't remember the RPG, but I've not seen the RPG, but I've read somewhere that it was meant to be pretty good. Gary is saying the Terminator Genesis miniatures game wasn't bad. The Terminator miniatures game is actually only 10 quid on the Warlord Games site at the minute. It's on sale, so it's been reduced from 70 quid down to £10, which is a bargain. If you're telling me it's not too bad a game, it's probably worth picking it up just for the miniatures or a tenner. Rich is saying considered sharp but haven't played any historicals. I get quite a few people, Rich, asking me to talk about historical stuff, and it's never really been something that's interested me. And I think it's because, I think in my head, I'm not sure I'm comfortable gaming in like sort of real settings, if you like. I don't like sort of having battles where real people have already fought those battles, if you like. Don't think that really kind of sits right with me, and I think that's why I've never got into it. It's probably one of the reasons I've never really got into bolt action either, but I do hear bolt action is much more kind of, think of it as an like arcadey version, but still based on real events. I think that's what doesn't sit right. Gary saying bit convoluted rules. That's probably why it maybe doesn't caught on. But again, maybe it's another example of games that only have two factions. You kind of have your Marines or whatever they are, the kind of resistance, and then you have your aliens. Because I'm thinking of Aliens as well. There's a board game for Aliens coming soon. Then you have your Terminators as well. Skullmuncher said on the flip side, Netrunner would make an awesome film TV series. I really fancied getting into Netrunner, the card game, and at the time I was looking at it was just as Fantasy Flight announced that they'd lost the license to it, and I made a comment that said it's a bit of a shame, but everybody's saying it's still a fantastic game, you should get into it. But then I was concerned about kind of getting into a game that was no longer supported. I've heard really good stuff about Netrunner. It's just a shame that the whole license things kind of fell by the wayside. Michael saying U-Boot being a movie. I'm so looking forward to U-Boot the game. And Ghostbusters the game there is, mate. I have it. That'll be why I've definitely heard of it then. Kev is saying there's a Ghostbusters board game. I have it, but keep putting back covering it. Yeah, what? I also remember there being not too long ago there was a Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles board game came out as well, which I heard was the miniatures were awful. That the scale of the miniatures was all over the place, as if they looked like the Turtles had been sculpted by one person, and the sort of Splinter and Shredder had been sculpted by somebody else. And all of the scales were a mile out. I've not seen them to comment on them personally, but that was what I'd read about it, and I found that quite strange. That after kind of going to Kickstarter, that was where they were. Talking of other kind of sort of games as well. So I've got Resident Evil 2 on its way as well from Steamforged. That's due to arrive November time, I think it is, November, December this year. So I'm looking forward to that coming out. I was a massive fan of the Resident Evil games as a kid. Still some of my favourite games. I've got the latest Resident Evil. Is it Resident Evil 7, which is the VR version. And I've got the PlayStation VR. And every time I go to play it, it absolutely scares the crap out of me. It's just so creepy as a game, and in VR. If any of you guys haven't tried the VR stuff, please go try and sort of go to a friend's house, go to a game store and try it out. It really is proper freaky, proper spooky. I keep turning it off. I've got hardly anywhere in the game. I literally walk inside this creepy house. Nothing's actually happened. It's just really freaky. Kev is saying he's got the Ninja Turtles one. Scale is bad, but the sculpts are good. Have you played the game, Kev? Is the game up to much? Horrid Person says Watchmen is going to HBO. Legal on account of DC Heroes and Night Games. Watchmen. It also counts. Yeah, Night Models had them for a while, didn't there, as well? The Watchmen miniatures. Watchmen is a weird film. It's a good film. I remember going to see it in the cinema, but it's not like sort of superhero, is it? It's quite a dark film, that. Tony saying Ninja Turtles Shadows of the Past is actually quite a good game though. I'm glad to hear that, because you can put up with a bit of scale creep if the game's decent. Gary is saying Ghostbusters board game is awesome. Wish I got the Kickstarter stuff. Lee is saying Angry Joe on YouTube made Street Fighter board game. Yeah, who was it that's backed it? It was Carl from the Black Country Wargamer. He's backed Street Fighter as well. Mark is saying Mutant Turtles with Monolith's Batman mechanics heaven. Yes, that's another game as well. So Batman Gotham Chronicles, I backed that one. I've got that one coming. I don't even know when that one's due for delivery. I'm assuming it's probably, I think we backed it this year, so it's probably going to be next year before I see that one. But really looking forward to that with the amount of stuff that came in the Kickstarter for that. Kev saying it's not great to be honest, but might be better with 5 players. Yeah, that's one thing, isn't it? That basically some games it's worth not writing them off until you've played it with more people. Maybe just where the sweet spot is. Tony is saying Resi in the VR I can handle for about 10 minutes. So scary, and I've been in a horror all my life. That's exactly where I am. So anybody that's played the game, you come to this abandoned house, you get inside, and it's a bit like the house in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where there's just like there's creepy crawlies everywhere. There's pots of like sort of rotten food. The fridge doors are hanging off, and there's ants inside. And as you walk around this little dark house, there's just noises and stuff. It is so bloody freaky. I've walked into that house 2 or 3 times playing the game. Nobody's come at me. I've not seen anything yet, but it just freaks me out, and I have to turn it off. but I kind of love being scared by it. It's quite cool. Skullmunch is saying love the Resi games, and second what you're saying about saying there, buddy. PSVR for Resi 7 is so atmospheric. Scares the crap out of me. I'm glad I'm not alone on this. I'm glad I'm not alone. Well, I might even stream one night. I might even stream me playing it so you can see it for 10 minutes before I crap myself. Christian saying Watchmen comic is far superior to that rubbish movie. I've actually got the Watchmen comic, and I've not read it yet. I bought it with some of the Batman stuff as well. I really love Batman comics, and yeah, I've not read it yet. Tony is saying to Mark, amen, brother. Flying Mammal says, I have my 90s copy of Teenage Mutant Turtles board game. I remember it being a lot better than it is. I remember the Turtles from being a kid. And I remember them when they were the Ninja Turtles and they were kind of edgy. And then there was the kind of the UK version of the Hero Turtles when they all got a bit more fluffy and stuff. But I remember reading the original comics that were kind of, I think it was Kevin Eastman, wasn't it, who wrote those? And they were much edgier, the original ones. It was kind of toned down a bit over for the UK. Gene is saying, not a great film when you compare it to the series. I think the miniseries HBO treatment is what the series should have got in the first place. Yeah, don't disagree with that, mate. Phil says he really liked Watchmen. Michael saying Watchmen is one of the best superhero movies of all time. The comics even better. I enjoyed the film, but I still don't really class it as a kind of a superhero film. I know you've got Dr. Manhattan. It kind of gets all a little bit kind of sci-fi and a bit, but like in the Comedian, I like it. Don't get me wrong, I do like it. It doesn't feel like a superhero film to me. Tony's saying, dude, really get the garage in Resi 7 new trouser time. He's also saying I would pay good money to watch you play. I tell you what, I will definitely try and set it up for one night. I'll see how it works with that and get my VR on and kind of get it streaming and stuff. I'll try and do it one night. Because it is proper brown trouser moment. I'll have to kind of get it with a different camera so you can see on the screen what I'm playing and you can see my reactions on another camera. I'll try and see what I can do for a future live stream. Star Smile says loved Alien Isolation but couldn't play much of it because it was so atmospheric and I'm a total wimp. I was exactly the same with that game as well. What I would say, I was kind of really big into my PC gaming a while ago, and I'm quite fortunate. I've got 3 monitors here, so sometimes when I play PC gaming as well, it's kind of like sort of a little bit surround. And there was another game that I got free recently in Steam. Forget what it's called now. where you're in a kind of in an asylum, another horror game. I forget what it's called, but that was really creepy as well. That absolutely creeped me out. I'll try to remember what it was called now. There's a second one as well. If anybody's into kind of horror PC games, you'll know exactly the one I mean. Throat Saw is saying, would definitely watch you explore the creepy house. Kev saying Eastman comics are amazing. Mark saying Eastman and Laird. Yeah, not sure I'm spelling that's right. Skullmunch saying, haha, love the garage scene. I'm dreading it now. I'm honestly dreading it. Tony saying Halloween special, Andy plays Resi. Do you know what it is? That sounds like a pretty good idea. I'll have to check the dates out and see how it fits. But what we might do is we might have a horror special for Halloween, and we'll talk about things like the zombie games like Walking Dead and Last Night on Earth and all those kind of things. And we'll do a little a tally chart for new trousers and heart attack. What I might do, actually, I wonder if I can track it. My wife's got an Apple Watch. I wonder if I can track it and get that up on screen what my heart rate is at the same time. I need to do some digging now. You kind of got me all excited about it. That would be pretty cool. A little bit of a break from miniature stuff and some proper brown trouser moments, I think. Skullmunch says Outlast. That's the game. That's exactly the game I'm thinking of. Outlast. So I was playing it at night time. Kind of wife had gone to bed. Little one's in bed. Lights are off in this room. Just had my 3 monitors here. Just kind of sitting playing it. You kind of, for anybody that's not played it, you record things on the camera, and the camera battery life kind of goes down. You don't have any weapons or anything like that. You can use the light on your camera to kind of light the way, but the battery life dies quick. And there was a bit where there was a little something ran across the corridor right near the start, and you follow it into a room, and as you get into the room, something jumps out in front of you, and I absolutely crapped myself. Got a shock of my life, turned the game off and went to bed, and I was like, yep, that's it. I don't know. So I kind of love that feeling of being scared, I think. I've been to the Halloween Horror Nights over in Universal Studios a few times over the years as well. So I think I just really enjoy actually quite being scared. Tim says Mansions of Madness and Betrayal at House on the Hill, cracking Halloween games. I've got Betrayal at House on the Hill actually. I've played it once with my wife and the kids, and it was a pretty good game actually, but it was quite long, I seem to remember. Tony saying Skullmunch, yep, that's the one, was racking my brain. Yeah, I couldn't remember what it was called either. For some reason, it was free on Steam a while ago, and I don't think I'd ever actually heard of it at the time. Phil says, have they made a Doom game? The new release looks good. Haven't played for about 20 years. They've made a Doom VR version of the game. Maybe that's where it is. Tim says Outlast can do one. Almost want my pants playing that. I'm glad it wasn't just me. I'm starting to feel a bit more at home now. I'm amongst friends now. Miss Tony saying Project Zero series of games are really scary as you have no weapons, only a camera. Yeah, I also had the PT demo on my PlayStation as well. PT was a bit of a creepy demo game, which I think was the forerunner for Resident Evil 7. And that was proper creepy as well. Skullmunch says, I have no idea how I managed to finish Outlast. I doth my cap to you, Skullmunch, for that. I think I played about 15 minutes of it, and it absolutely scared the crap out of me. So yeah, Halloween then. We'll have to do a bit of planning for that one. We've got a month or so. Well, a couple of months because it's end of October, isn't it? Let's do something special for Halloween. We'll maybe get a bit of a longer stream. We'll maybe do a couple of hours stream for Halloween. We'll have a little bit of Resident Evil 7, and we'll talk about some horror games and stuff. I'm looking forward to that one. I might even dress up. So, how are we doing for time? Another 10 minutes or so, yeah? Tony saying there's another new Doom game coming too. I didn't realise that, man. It must be the time for all of the remakes coming and stuff, isn't it? So, we've talked about movies, we've talked about comics, we've talked a little bit about TV. We're kind of on the video game stuff now, aren't we? So, what's your thoughts on the new Horizon Zero Dawn announcement by Steamforged? Horizon Zero Dawn, fantastic computer game. Not sure how it'll translate into a board game. Miniatures look fantastic. They look really, really good. But I'm not sure how they'll kind of translate in the game. What's your thoughts on that? Tim is saying, what equals shot? Nick is saying it's October. No, not October. Yeah, Halloween in October. And Skullmunch says, yeah, that sounds amazing, mate. Looking forward to that. Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to that myself, actually. That would be pretty cool. Lee saying, I can't do horror games. I have a weird fear of things running at me. And the last time I threw my controller and broke it in terror, that was playing Gigas with a berserker running at you. That is pretty freaky as well, to be fair. When they just kind of like leg it at you, that is pretty freaky. Bald and Nerdy says, sorry for getting in on the chat late. Glad to catch some of it. Never be sorry for being late. It's really good. It doesn't matter if anybody comes in for the first 5 minutes, for the last 5 minutes. If they stay all night, it's always good to have people in the chat. It just kind of keeps the chat going. It means I haven't got around my brains to think of something to chat about. Because it's randomly, it's quite hard to keep talking for 90 minutes. And without you guys, I'd be kind of sitting here scratching my head, wondering what to talk about. So the chat keeps all that going. So thank you very much. I appreciate you guys no matter what time you come in the chat. Skullmunch says the Horizon minis look good. Skeptical about how it would be as a board game myself too as well. Yeah, let's see if I can get some of those Horizon Zero Dawn game. Let's see if I can get some pictures of the miniatures up because they do look won't be gameplay. Well, I'll have to put board game. Otherwise, I'll just get loads of stuff about the video game. So we've got some miniatures here. Let's look across the camera. So yeah, so these are some of the images that come out so far. We've got Aloy there as well. Got some of these. I mean, the detail on the miniatures is fantastic. It's probably one of them things that a lot of people will back it purely just for the miniatures again, as they always do. But yeah, some really cool miniatures. I'm just not sure how the gameplay will match. Tony saying Horizon Zero Dawn intriguing. Need to see how the gameplay. Agreed. Bold Nerdy saying excited about Horizon Zero Dawn 2 minis. Also skeptical about how it'll play. Hoping they show the game in play. Yeah, it's a one for me as well. I love the game, but I won't be backing it just for the miniatures. It needs to be a decent game as well. Skullmunch says fear when the little girl runs towards you is terrifying. Fear was another awesome game. I remember having that on Xbox 360 when that first came out. Dylan says I have a massive Skyrim addiction. Got that bad. I was drive down the road and saw some flowers. Thought I'll pick them for a poison later. Got asked where I live. Said right run. My brother-in-law bought me Skyrim VR for Christmas, and I've played a bit of that in VR, and you do get really immersed in it. I mean, the graphics are not they're not as great as some newer games these days, but once you've got that kind of headset on and you're lost in the game, it gets sort of ingrained. Neil is saying Escape from Colditz was my childhood game. Never watched the old BBC series. Led me to research A Prisoner, which featured in a boom. I've also played the board game in Colditz as well. Escape from Colditz. I know the name, but I can't remember the game. I'm sure it's a really famous game. I think I kind of remember the game. Phil saying thanks for the show. You are welcome, buddy. It's your show too, so thank you very much for coming in. Tony's just laughing at Dylan there. Star Smile says, oh, look, that dog thing looks nice. It does look pretty cool, doesn't it? Tony saying Skyrim in VR is the only one that makes me queasy. It's got quite a few options to change the movement, hasn't it? But you're right, it does make you feel queasy. I'm normally pretty good with that kind of motion thing, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Christian says, keeping up to date with Horizon. Love the PS4 game. Hopefully the board game will be as good. Definitely game. Definitely. And Star Smile is saying, like you say, probably worth it for the minis. Tim saying, I need to finish Horizon Zero Dawn. I didn't say I'd finished it, mate. I just said I love the game. A game I would love to see come out for the miniatures would be the Uncharted games. I absolutely love the Uncharted games. I've finished all 4 of them, or 5 if you include the expansion one as well. Love the Uncharted games. Tim, Bazza saying, just noticed you passed 3,000, fella. I did, mate. Yeah, I passed it yesterday. So 3,000, just over 3,000 subscribers. I think it's actually might be a little bit more now as well, because it's been a bit of a good day for subscribers as well, yesterday and today. I think very much in part because of the competition as well. So where are we with subscribers? We're at 3,047. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Thank you to everybody that's either a new subscriber or an old subscriber. But yeah, going the right way. So thank you. Flying Mammal says, didn't Portal have a board game? I think I might have remembered seeing that on a shelf in a shop somewhere. No idea what the game's like, but Portal as a video game was fantastic. Tim says, hardly done any digital gaming this year, being all cardboard and plastic. I'm exactly the same, mate. I've not renewed my Xbox Live, and I've not renewed my PlayStation Network either. For must be well over 6 months now that since they ran out. I've done very, very little. Thinking about maybe getting back into it a bit for Red Dead Redemption 2. Potentially maybe thinking about that, but yeah. But I'll be cracking it back open to try out Resident Evil again. Michael saying fear in game. Marcus Janowski. I had a colleague called Mark Janowski. Dylan is saying the spider jumping down on you is mad in VR. It is freaky. It is proper freaky. Bold and Dirty says, I saw something about the new Aliens game coming out. Anywhere heard anything about this? Looks like it was a Kickstarter and comes out at the end of the year. I've seen something about this recently as well, mate. And I wasn't sure if it was something that was coming soon to Kickstarter, or maybe I've just completely missed it. But there's the Aliens versus Predator stuff from, is it Prodos Games or Prudos Games, something like that. I think that's been out a little while, but yeah, there's definitely an Aliens game coming out. I've seen that as well. Tony saying he's just started We Happy Few. What do you think of that, mate? It seems really, I like the idea of it. Very kind of quirky game. Star Smile says, Coldest was worse than Monopoly for arguments in our house. And Tony's saying, yep, Portal, the cake acquisition game. That would explain it well. Dylan saying, well done on the subs, and we all want that Kill Team merch. Yeah, once the competition goes, I'll drop back down below 3,000 again. It's up to me now to try and kind of keep everybody here. We've got Ant's just coming as well from Revenant Tabletop Gaming. Good evening, buddy. He says, damn it, I'm very late. I'll watch you back tomorrow. Well, you're still welcome, buddy. You're welcome to join us for the last few minutes. Mark, I'm just reading your comment there, and I read that as R2D2 and got completely confused as to what you were saying. Red Dead Redemption 2 looks insanely good. It does, but I'm not sure how I feel about it being a very open world kind of GTA kind of game. I was looking more for kind of the missions and stories, but I'll keep an eye on it. Phil is saying, if there was a game for the Italian job, I'd get it just for the minis. I like that, mate. It's hit that time of night where that's really, really funny. And Mark's having a giggle at that as well. On that note, Phil Wilkinson, I think we'll call it the end of the stream. So thank you everyone for coming in tonight. It's been a good old random chat tonight. We've talked about TV shows I've never seen. We've talked about movies I've never seen. Books I've never read. We've talked about loads of different board games, loads of miniatures games. We've had a little bit of chat there as well about video games at the end, which was really interesting. And I love the idea of doing that Halloween special with a little bit of VR as well. So we'll do that. It seems like there's a good crossover between video games and mini games, I think, in this group as well. So a little bit of video game chat is never a bad thing as well. Keeps things a little bit fresh and interesting. So, a couple of last things that's popping in there. Bold and Nerdy's talking about Prodos Games making the Alien vs Predator one. Gale Force 9 is making the new one. Thank you for that information. Tony saying, We Happy Few is interesting story-wise. Have to play it a while longer. Kind of in two minds. Bit of love there for Red Dead Redemption as well from Bold and Nerdy. And then we have a lot of people saying good night and thank you. Throatsaw saying thanks for a great show. People subbed, so thanks twice over. You're welcome, buddy. Great channel. Skullmunch is saying Phil, you legend. Yes, what a good way to end the chat on his Italian job minis joke. So, thanks everyone for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks again.